Hey guys, Allie Marie here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am totally deviating from a standard video. This is a Catholic channel, but today I wanted to share my experience with having my tongue tie clipped as an adult. I am 5 days post-procedure, and I found that in preparing for the procedure itself, there was a very limited amount of resources for what I should expect as an adult having my tongue tie clipped. A lot of times they do it for babies if they aren't latching properly and aren't gaining enough weight. But a lot of times, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, tongue ties weren't really talked about. And the ENT that I saw actually stated, it's a really recent thing that they're even acknowledging. And there are some adults that are coming in and wanting their tongue tie clipped. So, as I said, I'm Allie Marie. Typically, this is my Catholic perspective, but today I want to talk about preparing for my procedure, the procedure itself in slight, not so much, but also my recovery and my experiences post frenectomy is what it's called. Prior to myself, the only other adult that I knew that had a tongue tied happened to be my younger brother. He had his clipped sometime in middle school alongside having his wisdom teeth removed, and he said that it was a terrible experience. They didn't numb him properly. He could feel it happening. He was squirming in the chair, but they had given him as much pain medicine as they could since they were taking his wisdom teeth out at the same time. I was terrified about this procedure. I am not going to lie. I was posting across every platform that I am on, doing individual stories so that I could repeat it over and over because I'm very extroverted and needed to say it in all these different ways to mentally prepare myself and get this anxiety that I was having out. Getting to the procedure, because I had watched the procedure on YouTube. I watched maybe 2 or 3 of them. My ENT, as I said, he is very experienced in clipping tongue ties. He is a phenomenal ENT. I was referred to him because of some headaches I was having, and ultimately my dentist, this is why I had this tongue tie clipped. My dentist said that it was causing my gum line to recede from my lower teeth. So I was having the issue of gum line receding. So I wanted to get it clipped because I want to keep my teeth as long as I can. And so I went and saw him. He said that he could clip it, no problem. And a lot of people, if you have an anterior, so there are 2 types of tongue ties. There's an anterior tongue tie and a posterior tongue tie. The anterior one is where you can actually see the skin. It's what causes someone to be able to make like a lizard tongue, like I could do, and it's where you can actually see that connection. The posterior tongue tie is one that's underneath and it's deeper in the muscle, and that's, if you watch a procedure of a tongue tie being done, that's where you see it like starting to separate, and then they do all the stitches up the tongue. I am so grateful that I had the doctor that I had. Because of his experience, he was able to say, we can clip the anterior tongue tie. We do not need to clip the anterior. Whereas other videos I watched said, be sure to see somebody who knows about posterior tongue ties and anterior tongue ties, because otherwise they're only going to clip the anterior and you're still going to have a problem. Granted, my tongue is still not normal, but I did not have to have a single stitch. He did not have to cut into the muscle. There was very little risk of any type of complication as far as damaging salivary glands or nerve damage, anything like that. Once you start cutting into the muscle, you start risking any type of damage in these muscles underneath your jawline. So because of his experience, he knew that he could just clip that, very minimal. He did not want to do everything they had to do. And I'm still going back this coming week so that he can take a look at it and say, do you want me to clip more? So he's ultimately making it up to me, which I appreciate so much. I've seen so many doctors are like, oh no, this is what you have to do. Whether it's what I want or what I don't want, they say, well, this is what you have to do to fix your problem. I thought I wanted the whole thing clipped. I'm like, well, if you're going in there, you're going to do it. Just do it all at once. But he knew that the risk wasn't worth the reward of what it would mean to have that clipped. So I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. The reason you're having your tongue tie clipped, the reason you're considering it might be due to tension headaches. It might be due to a speech impediment. It might be due to something else that does necessitate that need for the posterior tongue tie to be clipped. But as an adult, typically having just that skin, having that tethered piece of skin that's causing your tongue to be connected to your gum line, that's typically going to be enough. So for me now, I am having to retrain my tongue, and I used to say my L's with my teeth quite a bit because my tongue couldn't reach the roof of my mouth very well. And now it's like, I can actually touch, like open my mouth. It used to be, I couldn't even, that was as far as I could go. I could stick my pinky in. And so now it's just amazing how much wider it is. And I wondered how it would impact my singing voice. I think about like, hallelujah, hallelujah. So I'm retraining that because before I would have had to totally close my mouth like, hallelujah, and use my teeth again when I don't try to actively retrain my tongue. The recovery process for me, since I only had the anterior tongue-tied clip, has been not bad at all, honestly. I used lidocaine once. I have taken ibuprofen or Tylenol. I think on the third day was the worst. On the very first day after it was done, the first day and then going into the beginning of the second day, my teeth were actually sore. So there was something about the tongue tie that was stabilizing my lower teeth that when he clipped it, my teeth actually shifted ever so slightly. It was just a minute amount, but they shifted a little bit forward and they were sore. It subsided so quickly, but it was something that surprised me. I didn't know what to expect it. Nobody had ever talked about it. But that was one thing I experienced. And then going into the third day and fourth day, the muscles at the back of my throat, so the epiglottis, which is your little dangly deal, the muscles to the right and left of it, on the back of in the very back of my mouth, in front of my throat, were actually sore. So when I stick my tongue straight out now, it's engaging those muscles. And they're muscles that have never moved in my mouth before. So I had a sore throat for maybe a couple days. And along that, it went down into I had my wisdom teeth removed in high school as well, but it went down into my gum line there where my wisdom teeth used to be on the top. Which, speaking of my teeth, that's another crazy side of my recovery and just having a tongue now that has fuller range of motion, that I can reach 3 teeth further back. Before, I couldn't touch even the outside of hardly any of my bottom teeth, maybe the front teeth. I could maybe reach a little bit, not down into the gum though, where it's actually down there. I'd have to use my finger to get food out. And now I understand why other people don't have to do that. Because your tongue is supposed to be able to reach to get that food. So I can actually reach into the crevices of my molars, which the last time I went to the dentist, they told me I have several cavities in those little crevices. And she said it was probably just due to my mouth structure or the depth of those indents. But ultimately now that my tongue tie is clipped, I wasn't able to clean them at all with my tongue. I couldn't check them to see if there was food stuck in them after I ate. I couldn't clean it out at all. I couldn't get up there. So that makes sense to me that actual oral hygiene is going to be better now because I can feel like, oh, there's some food stuck in there. Let's try to get it out. Whereas before, like I said, I can reach 3 teeth further back. There are 3 teeth that I could never feel with my tongue, not with the tip of my tongue, to actually do something about it. So that has been just really kind of amazing. I did not expect that at all. And then, those are the primary pieces. So I'm day 5 post-procedure. I have, there's some scar tissue developing now. I'll show you. If you don't want, just double tap on the right. I think that sends you forward 15 seconds. I'll go fast. So you can see a little rhombus type scar tissue happening. And you can also see where my posterior tongue tie is. So, sorry, I'm still going. But you can see it kind of stretching down there. But it's not actually putting the tension on my teeth that used to be there. So I am just so beyond grateful that I did not have to get something like 8 stitches, that I did not have to get stitches all the way up my tongue. He didn't even have to put a single stitch in because I didn't bleed. It wasn't into the muscle, zero, very, very low risk of any type of complication. So I am just so grateful for that doctor, for his experience. I can't recommend strong enough to just ask your doctor if having solely the anterior tongue-tied clip will resolve whatever issues it is that you're having, because although there's still likely some tension going on in my neck, like my tongue rests against the top of my mouth the way that I've read that it is supposed to. My mouth now, when I wake up in the morning, it doesn't have the same quality. I've always had bad morning breath. I still have. I mean, there's still some recovery going on, so I'm sure that contributes to it. But there is a different quality about the taste or like textures that are in there. Sorry if that's too much information, but it does shift. There is something different now about how it actually rests all the way up into my soft palate, up into that indent. And it's already shifted enough without having an even more invasive procedure done that would have had a longer recovery time. I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to talk even by now. 5 days later, I pre-recorded 3 videos it was like, I post on Sundays and Thursdays. So it was a Thursday, Sunday, Thursday. And I used a pre-recorded for Thursday because that was the day after the procedure. The only time I really couldn't talk was when my tongue was still numb. I was like, I can't really talk very much because I had a very, very like thick, the tip of my tongue was obviously still numb. So, but other than that, I mean, I've been able to talk. It's a little sore. I am doing stretches. So the stretches that my doctor recommended was like up to the top and then side to side. It feels like yoga for my tongue, but up, side to side, then stick my tongue up, which is amazing because I can almost touch the bottom of my chin. I've kind of done that like out and then side to side, but that seems to kind of dislodge that scar tissue that's in there, that little rhombus, that white speck. And so it starts feeling like there's food or something in there, and it's really uncomfortable. I do not care for that. So I've kind of stopped doing the side to side outside of my mouth. But I do like stick it out. It's amazing how much control I have now. If you have a tongue tie, like that's impressive. It's so normal to so many people. My husband is like, he's just like, stop talking about your mouth. But I just can't help it. Everything is so different right now. And the fact that I can reach more teeth, that I can talk with my mouth wide open, I can make an L noise, and that I don't feel inclined to use my teeth. There are just so many aspects that I personally am so grateful to have been able to have this procedure done, even as an adult. I know, like I said, it's typically done for babies. I have no experience with babies. If you are like, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but if you're thinking about having this done for your child, I can't give any feedback. There was one video I watched that talked about doing stretches before the procedure was done and basically rubbing the anterior tongue tie, rubbing that skin on the front to try to loosen it, try to prepare it. And there is zero possibility I ever would have done that because it would have been painful. It was painful enough to yawn, let alone try to massage it, and probably cause my gum line to recede even more. So as an adult, those types of like preparations aren't necessarily good or necessary, especially if, sometimes as babies, it will loosen up over time, but their nerves must just be different than ours in the mouth, because one of my friends said that she had her daughter's tongue tie clipped and she said she didn't even cry. If I had had that done without any type of pain medication, oh my gosh, no, like the pokes were bad enough. I don't mean to scare you. It's very split second. It's not long. Once it's numbed, it's fine. And if it starts to hurt, just let your doctor know and say, I can feel that. And they'll stop. They'll give you another poke. And yes, the poke's a little uncomfortable, but it's very short-lived. And watching the procedure is so much worse than actually experiencing it. Oh my goodness, it looks awful. Oh, I do. It's a good thing to know what you're going into, but like I had a craniotomy done in 2014, a brain surgery, and there was zero possibility I was going to watch that procedure done beforehand. However, my dad did, and he wanted to know what was going on. So with this one, it seemed less invasive, so I did watch it, and it made me more nervous than not watching it. Maybe. I wanted to know what my tongue was going to look like. And as it turned out, I didn't even need all the stitches that were in all of the procedures that I had seen. So just can't recommend that enough. And if you are having any type of issues or it's been recommended, I would go through an ENT. But one of the videos I did watch said it doesn't matter whether it's scissors or laser. It doesn't matter whether it's an ENT or a dentist or a doctor. What matters is that they perform the procedure regularly. It's better to see somebody who uses scissors, mine uses scissors. It's better to see somebody who uses scissors that does multiple tongue tie clips a week than to see somebody who uses a laser, which cauterizes it. It's said to be a shorter recovery time. It's said to be better to see someone with scissors than a laser who does them like 1 to 2 times a year. Your primary focus should be that you want somebody who does this regularly, who knows what they're doing. It doesn't matter what type of doctor that is, as long as they're doing it regularly. So if you're pursuing a doctor, just be sure to ask them, how regularly do they do this? If you're in a town, where they have a clinic that does regularly like specialize in tongue tie clips in the frenectomies, I would recommend just going to one of them. Whether or not your insurance covers it, you'd have to check there. You can call that particular clinic or doctor's office for the codes that they submit to insurance and call your insurance provider yourself and ask if they'd cover it and go from there. I can't speak to the price cost on it. I haven't seen the bill yet, so I don't even know what insurance has covered or hasn't covered or what that looks like for my insurance, but it very well could be different dependent on your coverage. So I would just say reach out to somebody with some of those clinics. You may not even need a referral and you could do it yourself, but it's really just ultimately what type of issue is it causing and will it improve your quality of life? Because for me, I can already say that it is. It is, like I said, it was painful to yawn before because my tongue couldn't recede back into my mouth. It couldn't go up. It just couldn't move very well. And now my oral hygiene, I can already tell is going to be better. I can feel all of my teeth. I can feel the roof of my mouth more. I made the joke to my ENT that I said, my husband should have French kissed me before I left because I told him I'm going to be going after his tonsils when I get home. And then I made the joke to my husband. I was like, I made that joke to him, but really, I feel like I'm playing tonsil hockey with myself. I can actually reach back there and feel what's going on in the back of my mouth, which you can't with a tongue tie. If you don't have a tongue tie, if you never had a tongue tie, you're like, well, yeah, I mean, why are you even talking about this? This is just weird. This isn't for you. This is for those with a tongue tie. They're just as amazed as me because it's so limiting. But anyway, that's like everything that I have to share. Be sure to see someone who does it regularly. It doesn't matter if it's scissors or laser. I had scissors done in 5 days post-procedure. It's not really an operation. So like post-procedure and it's just, I don't know. It's working for me. I'm so happy that I finally had it done because I've been thinking about it for so long. And I just hope that all of this is helpful for you in making a decision on whether you'd pursue it or if you already do have it scheduled, that hopefully this kind of helps maybe ease some of your fears about the procedure itself, to know that it's not that bad. Just speak up if you are feeling anything and hopefully, just choose a doctor that you're comfortable with and don't be afraid of getting a second opinion. That's an okay thing to do and just say, thanks for your time. And just say, yeah. And maybe you schedule the appointment at the front desk and then just call and cancel it when you get home. However you feel most comfortable. It just do what works for you because it's your body and it's your procedure, your mouth. You want to be sure you're with somebody who you're comfortable with. So I will leave you with the same prayer that I leave with all of my viewers every single week. And that is, I do pray that God grants you the resources that you need to draw closer to Him and in turn to those around you. And I pray that you're able to make it a great day. If you are interested in any of my future videos, be sure to subscribe and I will look forward to seeing you next time.